I guess it depends on your house. Do you need the computer, Adam, or just?
Yes, I'm allowed to my email.
Okay, yeah. Just make sure you see anyone doing it to let them know. Thank you. Thank you.
Most of them are you rolling? Oh, I'm Karen. I'm just going to say Karen. Because what's the word? Not with the
Good, how are you? Thank you. I just always end up sitting right in the middle of my.
Started the second, just looking up some slides.
I just want to hold off for a couple minutes because people are saying they need to resume like when they resend it.
Yeah.
So just give it like a few more minutes.
Okay.
Do not tell me. Fair enough.
She's gonna wait. So we're holding off for a few people that want to join by Zoom. Maybe just all okay. So really, the other 2 minutes. However, I always like to start off classes with I always like to start off any type of workshop or class with wins wins or losses. I would like this part. It's interactive. It's sharing. It's caring. It's help from other colleagues like yourself, like-minded people. So does anyone have any wins that they would share with us?
I kind of goes right along with these plans. So a couple months ago, she could eat a pizza group.
Okay.
Or more. And now I think we're putting in all for 4 months.
Okay.
Because it's affecting her mind power that much. And the best like at going, I kind of yesterday she's back now. So
yeah.
So we went a lower price. Right. For her with the cash flow, I mean, so I'm really excited for this part.
Okay, cool. So I'm testing your memory here. So when you went back and you did that connection, what was your way of solving after that person?
So actually 2 weeks ago, she was breaking back down the buyer's market. She's like, I don't rent for no reason. I was like, look, it's gonna get even harder next year to do this. Start building on your equity now, because we're building a seed that we don't this year just like it has been for years.
Yes.
So, and then I kind of did the math where I was like, hey, if you're renting, like you're not getting any equity. But if you buy this now, even if you're buying it at a little bit of a higher price, that's kind of the example I gave her.
Cool. Any other wins, losses, or aha moments, or like share with your business?
I've been asking people to look into adjustable rate mortgages right now,
Okay.
just to get them in where they need to be, and
Yeah.
you know, they're offering them like 7 years, 10 years. So the interest rate won't affect them as much.
Right.
If they do adjustable.
Right. When in doubt, we bring the have them.
Absolutely, yeah.
Totally. Yeah. All right, cool. Anything else? Go ahead. Yep.
I have a so for that.
Sure.
Sean to ensure
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Larry has one to share.
Okay, Larry. Yep.
So we just had a home sale over the asking price. It's got a home. $130,000.
Okay.
oh my God, that's awesome.
That was one dual town. Open house person came in, had no idea about the home.
No, they did have an agent,
Okay, yes.
so they got their agent back.
You got the buyer?
He's not gonna buy. The buyer came to our open house, but had it.
So the open houses are still selling.
Everyone, that.
Awesome. So we got people joining on Zoom. Just make sure I have everyone. Let these people on the back down. Great wins, guys. Thanks for the participation. So I always want to bring perspective to why we was here. So a couple people had brought that up on why they're here. Any other reasons for why you're here? Okay, excellent. Love that. More. Okay, excellent. You learned this. So, how many of you ever heard of the economic shift? Have you ever heard of it? Okay, cool. What is that? What's an economic shift? Yeah, what I'm hearing you say is that some sort of trade that affects some sort of shift. And the shift, and I think what you would find is that shifts the market from what's happening. There's either a seller's market we're in, a buyer's market we're in. We've always been in a, what's that? Yes, we've always been in a seller's market, now we're shifting at some point to a buyer's market. Who knows what's going to happen? There's a lot of indications. A lot of that is due to it happens very quickly on the national, on the local level. On the local level, it happens very quickly. Bob Meisner the other day, he had stopped me in the hallway and said, I think up in Wishboro. And he said, I put up for 2 weeks, I only got one show. I said, I don't know what's going on. I said, I did a look up in showing time. And I just looked at Council Rock films between 550 and 650. And he saw like a number, I forget what it was, but it was something that was really like a long, not a lot of showing as much as fit for Council Rock. So that was to him, like, I see something happening. Does anyone, I mean, with the exception of Larry's story, is anyone, okay. Somewhere.
I have a similar, that's with the Alan. Now, that's what's the street. So for probably 25 to 40 of the house next door to it. So also on my road. So I have a dilemma that's coming up first, and interest rates are going up. You know, I don't want to put it too high, and I don't want to put it too low. A little bit more than what the other ones were asking for. But it's like tough, because like you said, the interest rates are pretty low. You know, like, yeah.
Right. So you have to reevaluate. Like,
I know, on a daily basis.
Exactly. Right. Case basis. Great stuff, though. And we're happy about that list. So in this book, have you guys heard this book, Shift? It's how top real estate agents tackle the tough times. So it teaches you all about how to handle yourself when those markets come. So how many people got into the real estate industry after the year, let's call it 2012, 2013? Okay. So a lot of you have never experienced this shift. You've been working primarily in a seller's market since you got it. And then a good amount of generations that were in the buyer's market saw that and were part of that shift. So in this book, there's 12 tactics that you need to deploy to make sure you prepare yourself in that buyer's market. And tactic number one they talk about in this book is this concept of getting real and getting real. And when you get
Sorry. You have to be close to the camera because you won't zoom in.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay.
Texted me.
Yep. All right. So there's this concept of getting real and getting right. All right. So when you get real, get right, there's a mental shift you have to go through, and then there's an action shift. The mental shift is that when a shift happens, there's that shift happens, kind of like, shift happens, and you have to shift with it. Can't really pull the victim card. You have to pull the accountability card and say, this is what I signed up for as a professional. History has shown that the market always shifts from buyer's market to sellers to buyer's market. I have to shift with it. That's just how it is. And the action shift on page 27 will kind of get you right into the frame of mind that you need to take ownership of. And I'll read it to you. The critical actions that you identify must be carried out by you or personally overseen by you on a daily basis. Our research shows that the two actions real estate agents must take personal ownership of are lead generation and lead conversion. Nothing becomes more critical to success than finding motivated buyers and sellers and closing them to okay. So when we think about lead generation, lead conversion, what do you think is more important to you that you get better with? Love to hear some reasons. When it comes to lead generation and lead conversion, what are you trying to work on more? What do you need help with going?
Closing like cold.
Okay, conversion. Who else? Okay. Right. Conversion. Is it safe to say that lead generation in our business is somewhat easy? Somewhat, we can get all the leads we want to. It's really the conversion, right? I think Zillow, Realtor.com, I think they came into this industry because they knew these leads were not that good at converting, and they can develop all these leads. And now they're selling these leads that are very close to people that are buying, and they're very emotional to buying the next 2 weeks. They sell these leads. Realtors are hopping all over it because it's easier to close them. So lead conversion is super important to this industry. And when we get to lead conversion, we get to being a professional for what we do. And when we think about being a professional, we have to think about knowing what to say in every single circumstance. When you think of a professional, you think of like a Michael Jordan or a Kobe Bryant. They're working on free throws, or professional baseball players are working on routine ground balls. They make it look so easy. As a professional, I want you to look at yourself in the mirror or think about yourself right now and ask yourself, are you taking on the practice to be a good professional? So Debbie Spalter is going to be helping me out a little bit in this class here. So Debbie was very instrumental with me when I started, as much as Larry too, because Larry was a team leader. Debbie, you've always been key on script practice, practicing conversations. So talk to us a little bit about your journey, how it started off. Because I know in your first year, 2009, you did $9 million. Got linked up. I don't want to spoil the story, but go ahead. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, so basically, when I started, I came from a sales background. And the one thing people told me was, one, come into the office, really be around people in terms of, so you can hear what people are saying. And the other thing I really started to do was I started to do script practice. So probably for my first 18 months, I did script practice at least 1 to 2 times a day. I had a different partner every day. And I really got to know scripts. It was a good place to kind of mess up. And I'm always a proponent of, if you know what to say, it's always easier than listen to what they're saying.
Yeah, love that. So today's session is going to be like a half workshop, but then at the latter end, we'll talk more about the education around interest rates, on how we can be more knowledgeable and get that on relaying the right information to our people. So objections, I feel, they can be tackled all the same, no matter what they are. So what are the objections that you hear, other than the interest rate ones? What are some other objections that you hear? Yeah.
I had one client that has lost out on 5 offers. All 5 of them they got beat out by over 100,000.
100,000?
100,000. All 5. So at this point, it's like, what are they supposed to offer? I mean, we're already, 50, 60 over, weaving everything. It's like they are now, and I don't know how to advise them what to offer anymore. It's like they keep finding that one home where there's going to be 3 others in the same neighborhood that went 10 to 15. And the one we want, is going 100,000 cash. Yes. So it's happened to them so many times. I don't really know what to tell them anymore. Too often.
So that's been on multiple homes, though.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll get back to that. What are we at?
And I was not willing to. I don't know, or my career so far, and they want everything in it. So imagine for listing where you fires or features, this and that, and it's the market, right?
Right.
That's in a hard.
Yeah. Okay.
So you basically couldn't prove value. Right. So I keep telling them, they like that, it's, you know, I need them all back, and then I turn around and say, over the weekend, someone that I had an opinion with, hired someone from.
So I'll get back to that one. So for Casey, for yours, is there an actual objection that your buyers are giving, or are they giving up on the home buying process, or is there, yeah? So that's the good news.
Yeah.
So it's the challenge.
Yeah,
There's
and
no,
with the rates,
yeah.
you know, we're now
Yeah.
looking 80,000 less than we were.
Right. Right. Okay. So these objections for like interest rate will come on. Okay. I want to tackle yours a little bit. But for the sake of the class, let's get into the workshop method here. So here we go. Whenever you're hit with any objection, when you think of handling objections, I want you to think, here's the way not to handle it. So Debbie, I'm the agent, hit you with an objection.
Oh, well, I had someone who would do it for 4%.
Oh, you have someone to do it for 4%? Okay. Well, here's what happens if you do it for 4%. Your value won't be there, blah, 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 and you know, I sold so many homes. Did you see that on my presentation? I sold 2 homes last year. So, great script. I wasn't really prepared for that. But however, you cannot be you can't come at any objection by being a teller. You have to be question based all the time. Okay. So here, let's do that again. So Debbie, let's hit me with that.
So Adam, the other agent said they would do it for 4%.
You know, Debbie, I'm so glad you brought that up. What I'm hearing you say is that there's other agents that will do it for a discounted price. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
Okay, great. False. Great script. What was the difference between that and maybe coming off and telling us?
Understanding.
Okay. Right. Right. Exactly. So you can write this down as the first note. So whenever you get an objection, you have to welcome and rephrase it. Welcome. You know what, Debbie, I'm so glad you brought that. So glad you brought that up. I was watching a video the other day, and this coach that was teaching this class that I took a lot of value from, she said she went to the chiropractor. First time she ever saw this particular chiropractor, always had issues with her neck. And she didn't like how her previous chiropractors were adjusting her neck. And she at the beginning said, hey, you know, when you get to my head and you start working on that, you let me know. And questions goes, what's concerns you about the head? Well, in the I always had, whenever I leave and the chiropractor looks at my neck, I had so much neck, you know, the way that they treat. And he goes, you know what, I'm so happy you brought that up. Just so you know, don't hesitate to bring it up to me again. I want to make sure this is the most comfortable experience. And then she said, right when that chiropractor said that, she said, okay, wow, okay, I really feel a lot more comfortable with this person. So always welcome it and rephrase it. You can't always assume you think you know why that's happening, okay? So clearly there was an objection that Debbie gave there, and it wasn't the real objection. You know, it's not like she's selling because she wants to get the lowest price possible for someone to help her sell her home, right? There's no way that's the motivation while I'm there. There's got to be some type of motivation, and it would be finding out what it is. Right? So, any questions on that? So that's welcoming and rephrasing. So let's get into the actual interest rate. So we're going to welcome and rephrase, and then we're going to dig. All right. So Debbie, you want to use this as an example again? I'm the agent, and let's do the interest rate. Okay.
Well, I'm going to wait till the interest rates come back down.
Okay. You know, I'm so glad you brought that up. So what I'm hearing you say is that the interest rates are rising, and that concerns you. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
Okay. Just out of curiosity, what concerns you about interest rates rising?
Oh, I'm not going to be able to afford to buy the house that I want to buy.
Okay. So what I'm hearing you say is that you want to hold up on buying, and that's really because the interest rates reduce the buying power that you have. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
Okay. False. So you see what I did there? I digged and I asked a question around that and I asked a question around that. All right. So it's welcoming and rephrase and digging and keep going. Okay. So it's starting at from the top. Notice we keep going and going and going with this. Right? That's how the best practices go. So let's start again.
So Adam, I'm going to wait till I have more money for a bigger down payment.
Okay. Glad you brought that up. So what I'm hearing you say is you want to wait to have more money for a bigger down payment. Did I say that right? Okay, all right. What concerns you about that? Just out of curiosity.
I'm not gonna be able to afford the house that I wanna buy.
Okay. So what makes you believe that you're not going to be able to afford the house you want to buy?
I just see all the interest rates going up and everything's costing more money.
Okay. So I'm hearing you saying that it's costing more money with the interest rates going up. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Does that have anything to do around your around your monthly payments, so to say?
Yeah, well, that's really what matters is what my monthly payment.
I don't want to make assumptions. I was only asking. Is that okay? Cool. So if I could show you a way where I can find you a house that's affordable with the monthly payment you have, would you still be open to continuing this home search? Home search. Okay. Are you available this Friday at 3 o'clock to go over some ideas that I have?
I am.
Okay. So what we want to do is that was a conditional close. Okay. So a conditional close is coming up with digging, and then coming up with the underlying. So really what was the objection with her? It started with interest rate, but what was the real objection? Monthly, yes, monthly payment. So really it got down to affordability, monthly payment. And I kind of put it out there for her like that. However, I don't want to assume that. So I'm saying, hey, I'm thinking, I'm questioning this. You see how I asked permission for that? I'm not assuming. And I spit it back to her for her to question and say, okay, yeah, that's fine. Okay. So that's the conditional close there. So it's welcome and rephrase, digging and asking questions around each one, and then having some sort of conditional close for you to get them into an appointment, or for you to get them in a conversation with their lender, talk about adjustable rate mortgages, suggestions, whatever that case may be. Did you have anything you want to add on top of that?
Well, so just to think about, like, what words do you think of when you want someone to talk? Like, what words might you use? Like, if you're trying to get someone to open up and talk about things, what kinds of questions are you going to use? So, like, what kind of words might I use, Sean? Tell me. Tell me.
Help me understand. I love that one.
What? What?
Just no yes or no questions.
Right.
No questions that call you to a one.
Great. So what we're going to do here is we're going to practice with partners. We're going to practice with partners. Someone's going to give the objection for the interest rates, and you're going to practice. Just maybe the first practice is making sure you have the welcoming and the rephrasing down. And then you're asking your question, and then you get to the second one, which is big. Okay, what makes you believe that that holding off is the best option for you? So let's practice that. Let's just practice welcoming and rephrasing, and then getting into one digging question, and then getting feedback from your partner. So we're going to do this for the next 2 minutes, and then we're going to switch partners. Okay? All right. So Robbie, Larry, Eileen, Casey, Karen, Betty, Zach, and Esty, Juliana, and Remy. So someone's going to identify as the buyer. So one person identifies the buyer. Okay. And the objection is hold on. Fine. And then you're going to welcome and rephrase and practice that. So stop the opportunity. All right, hold up, everyone pause. Now, the person that was practicing, just give feedback to one another. Meaning, if you were the buyer, give feedback to the person that was the agent. Tell them what you heard, and then the person that was the agent, share what you felt. If it felt natural, if there was something that you thought that you could have said better. Collaborate now for the next 30 seconds. All right, pause. We're just going to switch roles now. Switch roles. The person that was the buyer is now the agent. The agent is now the buyer. All right? Go ahead. Love it. I'm getting laughs. I'm getting that was very loud. I love it. Yeah, practice. I love it. Hey, pause in the back there. Okay. Here we go. So, any feedback that you want to share? Any ahas, takeaways? That was like some of the best practice I've been here for a while.
We're desperate.
Desperate? Tell me about that.
I was just saying, like, I put out the over and I, done things, really worked hard for the last, couple of months. And I really didn't have success that I hoped I would, so.
Okay. I appreciate that. In particular to the exercise with the interest rates and welcoming and rephrasing. Was there anything that you thought you did well? Was there anything that you took away that was equal? Talk to me about that. How was the experience overall?
I think that, parts of it, when he answered some of the things that he said back, I was think that he thought that way, but it was a surprise to me that it was not.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you for that. Anyone else?
So I really love when she thanked me for bringing it up because it made me feel like that was an okay question to ask. And made me like her more.
Okay.
Actually, good question a lot.
Yes. hard to embrace that, right? To ask question after question after question. It's something as a consultant, as a true consultant, you have to internalize. It separates the consultants from the salespeople. So, and this is great too. It's good to mess up. If you messed up or you felt uncomfortable with agents rather than actual buyers, like here on the field. Do you guys agree with that? Okay. Who else?
I think if you're asking your agent questions where you have doubts and concerns, that's a trust. I mean, that shows you trust them, I think, because their opinion is valuable.
Yes.
To you.
Right.
So, and I think once they know that, it's got to be helpful to steer in the same direction together.
Yes. Absolutely love that.
I told Casey that I want to stop looking and I just want to stop looking and getting frustrated. And she goes, I agree with you.
It's actually like the only script that I feel like I'm good at. Like the stop looking script. Because I'm always, majority of my current clients are people who either like have very flexible financial situations or maybe their first time home buyers and their parents aren't like kicking them out. So they don't have to be out. So I actually just had this conversation with a client and they were like, you know, with rates going up and like we've written 3 offers and we've got like, do you think we should just like take a break, take time off and like save more money or like wait for something to happen with rates? And I said that, and I just said this to Remy. What I'm saying in that conversation is, I totally hear what you're saying, but I agree. It's been rough. You know, I represent, you know, other clients and we're seeing the same things and even different price points. However, you are not in any rush to be out of your home. And I've worked with clients on a 1 to 3 year. I've had people get 3 years out just to know what their plan is. You've already taken that initiative to know what you need to do to be where you're at with your lender. Why we already are pre-approved, you might as well stay proactive, go to open houses. Like if you see something you really love on the search, like you don't have to see everything, but if it's something you can feel really interested in, like we'll go see it and stay proactive. I always use that proactive word. And that way that if something you love comes up, we're prepared to make an offer that day. And if not, and this takes a year from now, I'm okay with that too. We're not being kicked out. We are in control. Like, and I just push on them that even though we're in a seller's market, that they're in the driver's seat. Like nobody's forcing you to pay any amount on anything. No one's forcing you to make offers. No one's taking you out of where you're living. So if you're proactive and you're in control, then we can choose when we're done fine.
And it's not costing you any money.
Right. And so that's what's kept, I've had that conversation in the last month with 3 different clients, and that's what kept them from like deactivating their orders. And like it gives us a little bit of like slack too, because I say like, I just heard an offer for someone I had that exact conversation with. They went to an open house on Sunday and I didn't go with them. Like I was like, hey, there's an open house for the house they're interested in. They were only interested in one house this week. And they went and loved it and we wrote an offer and we didn't hear back yet. But like those are a prime example of people who like live with their parents and they're like, you know, like we're getting married in a year, like, you know, we're not in a rush. And so if they would have taken themselves, they would have not seen that house. And if they don't, you know, they put a very good offer in, but if they don't get it, they're like, okay with it. And that's like how I can keep people like, I'm not just like, peace out.
Yeah, thank you for sharing.
And go out for another show. Just go to open house.
Good. Okay. So we have some good practice with that. If there's only like one thing you can take away from that, I don't, you know, you're not going to be experts at the end of that whole workshop that we just did. If there's anything you take away from that, it's going to be very good at, I love that welcome. I think you can listen most definitely. I really do. You repeat something what they said, you repeat what they said, and ask if that's what you said or into it. And then get into more, just peeling your back on that. Okay, what is it about that that's setting fun concern? So, okay, did I do right? It was okay, great. Well, what makes you believe that X? But what you're just keep going. So, love it, love it, love it. All right, let's get into the educational program here. So, here's a website that I want you to jot down. This is called keepingcurrentmatters.com. Have any of you ever heard of that website? Yeah. Okay, excellent. Keepingcurrentmatters.com. For those that haven't heard of it, it's a whole bunch of real estate researchers. collaborate and we put information together for real estate agents on a monthly basis, and it's on a national basis, okay? And with what's happening now, they share a lot of slides, a lot of information for us to be very knowledgeable and to educate based on research. We're not going to predict what happens, but we're going to projection. So there are some slides here that I wanted to share. So here's the first slide. So mortgage rates are likely, here we go. Mortgage rates are likely to continue and move higher throughout the balance of 2022. Although the pace of rate increases is likely to moderate, much of the increase in rates in early 2022 is in the anticipation of what will happen later this year, especially with Federal Reserve interest rate policy. So when you see this, think about the person who is concerned about their buying power that gives you that objection. Is that likely to improve after what you just read here? All right. Anyone else want to share on that? Rates go up, and housing prices, well, no, I'm going to get to that next slide, actually. Let's look at this for a second. Okay. Check out this slide. Potential growth in household wealth over the next 5 years based solely on increasing home equity. We purchased a $360,000 home in January of 2022. So, has a source here, HPES, I'm not sure who that is exactly. So they're saying over the next 5 years, there's going to be an increase in equity. Rates are expected to go up. However, when rates go up, it seems as though the prices go up, and they're projecting them to go up on a national level. So for those that are concerned about buying a home and then there's no home appreciation with it, this slide can educate your buyers on the evidence. $96,342 total all the time. So we have one mortgage lender in the ring. I don't want to pick on the spot, right? So what do you usually tackle with people that are concerned about interest rate rising?
Well, you ask them why, what are they concerned about? I think like yes, almost everything is broken.
Yep.
And then I usually go into some sort of a script like that. Barriers, you know, the matter, you know, if it was, you want to wait for the rates to come down to 4%. Maybe they won't, maybe they will, I don't know. While you're waiting to do that, that price of the house today is now worth this much money. So, you know, you have to make that make sense to them where they go, okay, say to them that they know what they're looking at. The house, the difference in rate from the 4% to 5% is not $500 a month, right? So you really, they don't know. They think that 1 point or even a half point, because some uncle who knows everything about mortgages, they can't say, oh, you know. But sometimes you really have to break it down to the ridiculous. You gotta say, listen, yeah, well, you should have done last year. That's not the right answer, right? But you get graded, well, you know, listen, you're gonna have to read it. You can't get now, so it's not about now. Sometimes you have to say, listen, that extra half a point or whatever, maybe it's gonna be great to take $100 a month. Okay. They might have a response that says, that's it. Or they might say, well, that's a lot. Say, well, is it worth it? $20 a week to have the house that you want? Sometimes you have to really dissect it for them, because what they know about your business and my business is not different than somebody else. The good, bad, or different. So a lot of times when I have people go, oh my God, the rates that, I go, yeah, you know what that equates out to? Perfect. What's the most important thing? And you can talk that way to them if you told that before. And you can talk to them like they're your cousin or your friend or whatever. And I love what she said, because everything that she did with those clients built trust in her because she wasn't trying to sell me something now. And that seems like puts people off. So you really have to build that rapport. And if you don't have that done ahead of time, sometimes it's hard to break it down and even, you know, really tell them what they need to hear. You know?
It's like about just setting expectations.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of times, I come from the car business, I own dealerships for 39 years, and I would be the first one to tell you that the returning customers that I sold to them and their kids and their grandkids, very old, but I didn't have to do too much selling when it went generational. And I will also tell you that a lot of customers, I would say, listen, go look at this. Let's take a look at it. Let's see if you can fit in your budget. And if you can, do something more considered. If you don't care, it's okay. That's fine. Keep that aside. You know, I want to sell it and I want to put them in a car or put them in a house or whatever. But sometimes it's, you know, it's soft close. Sometimes it's, and when you say it that way, or you don't listen, take your time, let's figure it out. It really builds on that trust. You know, it's help you find something. And that's a big shift in selling and helping you find.
When we started kind of shifting in this, like this level of clients, Sonia Suarez and I have said a handful of clients, especially even like people that are like leery on, like, or maybe they're getting frustrated and then they're starting to have that feeling like they have to settle on something, like, you know, give up their like things on the list. We've said to them that we're not in the business for selling. Like, we are not in the business of having our clients settle for something. So like we just emphasize like it's not about like you said, like the right now. It's about finding what you want, like that's comfortable and all that things. And like providing education and all that stuff, but like we're just not, I've said that line, like I'm not in the business of that. And I've had like parents on the show like when I've said that and they're like, that would be.
There you go. I love that. So Chris brings up a good point something, and it's keeping the buyers the most informed and updated on what today's buying, what today's purchase at X price looks like for the market. But for like the experience that we use, do any of you put that in your practice where you have a buyer and make sure that they're working closely with their funding to reevaluate that monthly payment? You guys are, yeah. Seems like very good practice to do that. So that's pretty much the workshop here today for that. Oh, one more slide I wanted to go over. History suggests that when the rates rise, there is an initial bump in home prices as many move quickly to buy a home before rates increase further. Does that make sense, that one? Okay. But after that period, home prices slow. Freddie Mac analysis shows that a 1% increase in mortgage rates results in home appreciation that is 4 percentage points lower. For instance, a 1% increase in mortgage rates would change price growth from 11% to 7%. So it goes down, however, it's not negative.
Slide before that one.
Sure. Yep. So all the sources on this website, all the credible sources, they are anticipating home prices in the positive.
So you were saying that it'll go up about 6%.
Yes.
7%.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. I don't know where I saw it. Analysis in December. Definitely. Yeah. That was a larger jump.
Zillow had something that was.
It was like a. It was something. It was like a.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So before we leave, I want to not a heckle up this objection. Are people still getting that discount brokerage objection? Can you just X percent. Okay. Sorry, you're not having a conversation. But you're not losing anything. So in terms of your commission between those entities. I love the strategy you use. So if someone's called and gets on the phone, who's a potential seller, the line for you is when you throw that, you sell my, what's your commission charge? Yeah. We'll be willing to work with you. I see your house first.
For the telephone, you gotta give a percentage.
And every year, there's a lot of happening from, there's an open house basically that we listen to. And that comes in as a value proposition that sells from the buyers that come in from the market. And then from that, there's some sort of a discount if you represent the buyers because the open house was there.
Yeah, I mean, we're not offering anyway. How much? So here's our rule of thumb. We'll say no 3 times, and then we'll say yes.
He's not walking out of the way. He's not in the regular. He has to be on time to go. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying. I mean, you do encounter it. So, how many percent? No. So what sellers have said to Nana is, your competition is at 4%. We like you better, Nana.
Yes.
And we'll hire you if you do it for 4%. If not, we're going to go with that guy.
Yeah.
That's what's in real life. That's what's happening. So Nana can say no, and no, and no, and then she has to make a business decision.
So Larry, in the last year, how many homes have you listed at 4%?
We have done a few. Because what we're finding, first of all, listings are very, very competitive. And what we're finding is we do additional business. We've gotten 6% listings from listings we've had.
And also, like, your business specifically built off of your open house strategy. So you're not even more so, I mean, quality of quantity, but also you need that strategy and that strategy doesn't work with that listing.
Yeah, if we don't have listings, we're on the floor.
What about if someone have you been in the 4% situation where you're like, listen, the average commission that people makes is 2.5 on each side. Like I have to at least make that, or I have to at least be able to give that out, or agents are going to push their clients to look something. Have you ever said that to someone?
Sure. I mean, again, we'll try and overcome business. So we do say that, we work on 2.5. We start out at 6, so we work on 2%. Now we have to figure out how much we're going to pay up. And we have to go over to 2.5%. So, 5.5%.
Right.
We're not working out, we're taking the risk.
But also, I mean, from my experience, the seller is really saying they care about how much money we walk away with.
That's not true.
It's not exactly. I'm not gonna argue with you.
Well, I mean, you're right in some regard, yes. Right?
To the right seller.
But there are sellers that we've encountered that in this environment are not paying 6%.
I get that, but what are they most concerned about?
The city.
Like people, like we have to. I mean, you are totally aware that we deal with people who are lack of awareness morons and have like. If the percentage has a 6 there, but the percent's on it, they're just like they can't wrap their head around it. They have to be able to tell their friends, "Oh, I got." like whatever,
We
they
do
don't
everything
even
we
care
can.
about that one. Because you can say, well, okay, well, like before I go on the list of women, before I've asked them, do you know the estimate of their payoff? So I can give you an accurate salary. Okay, so that way I know that when I go on the list and the person wants to list at whatever number, but I tell them if we, including my commission and whatever else I put in there, like my broker's fee, I can still get you that 160 like proceeds check. Does that sound good to you? Oh yeah, that's 30 over what I wanted. Okay, great, sign here. That skipped over the commission. But some people just can't even get that. And that's like not a good client because they're how do you ever connect them? If we list for this price and the comps are at this price, those numbers in it, that's all including the ones. Oh, but that you have to get more information before you go there. I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm very bad at math, so or like we're having people watch me do that. So like I wouldn't be able to get that information on the spot and do it with them.
Practice. I'm serious.
Currently,
Practice.
So that's something you can, and that's part of like screening, I guess, and asking for more information while you're getting the appointment. Do you know what your payoff will be? Like, I really want to make sure that when you reach your goals and that we list for the right price. I want to be as prepared as possible before I come to your like, you know what your estimated mortgage payoff is. And at least you can like put them in the ballpark. And then you can maybe you can get them like 60 over what they want. Maybe the 4% is fine. It's okay because the like your average commission check would be that.
So this could be a whole other workshop. So if that objection comes up over the phone, I use Larry as an example. I love his strategy. It's like you brought that up. I would love to work with you. I need to see that first. So I love that strategy. And then when you're in person, in that objection, remember the last workshop we did, that's something. I don't want to do that. So if that person can't uphold their integrity, it's telling you work it down in their own commission. So,
I'm not questioning, I just thought
Yeah,
that was a good one.
you're good, you're good.
I mean, Bob Meisner, like back to like when I was in he said his main response to Jackson Handler is, would you, if I'm gonna let you break me down on commissions now, like what makes you think that I'm going to let buyers agents perfect? Yes, either eat up stuff on price.
right, absolutely.
Or just like some people have like tiers, like some people are okay with taking 4 or 5% and they have a sheet that says like this is what we do for 4% clients, and this is what we do for 5% clients. It depends on what you like. What kind of service would you prefer? And I would say that like 50% is not to have the full explanation. That.
All right. Takeaways, comments before we break. Everyone's going to do all these interest rate objections. It's very nice and cold, and they're the first thing to say. Welcome and rephrase. Right? Okay. Dig. Don't make assumptions. Dig. Ask the question. Cool. Yeah, you guys. Yeah. Great. Yeah.
No.
I have. said, I just have been here in Pearl. Should probably give it to them before.
And that's like.
I love that.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Saturday, I had a Wi-Fi.